know what we're talking about. We finally got the one we wanted, and you're about to find out what that is. But before we get there, we have our first match, which is Ken versus Birdie. Two characters generally considered to be fairly beginner-friendly. To me, anyway. And, you know, KZA, can you elaborate on that? What makes these characters, you know, a little bit more beginner-friendly, and what aspects of them give them that idea?
Well, people think of Ken as beginner-friendly, but honestly, I would disagree. The beginner-friendly version of Ken is not a Ken that's going to succeed beyond beginner levels. But certainly, it's easy to play a very stupid version of Ken that works pretty well against other people who don't know what they're doing. Birdie, on the other hand, just is kind of has a simple game plan. And you can play him fairly solidly to advance a fair bit. The only kind of issue with him is that there's definitely a gap where you have to pick up some of the harder execution tricks like juggling with his V-trigger, but you can basically play him the same way from beginner up to platinum and not really have to struggle.
You know, yeah, I will agree on that. You can play cheesy Ken, that's really good, but if you want to play really good Ken, you do have to work on it a bit, and that is a little bit more advanced. But what I was like alluding to is like you don't really, if you stick to a very general game plan, very basic buttons for Ken, you can do well. But there will be a point where you will have to change things up, add a little bit more to your toolbox, and that's when things start getting a little bit more elaborate, when you have to, you know, start putting in mix-ups, doing more than a DP every 10 games. Or no, 10 DPs every game. There we go. I'll get it switched. So, you know, that's Ken. Birdie, on the other hand, we're talking, you know, you got chains, you got grabs, we got projectiles, we got sodas, bananas, we got all of it. He's grappler guile, zoner grappler, whatever that means. So let's get into this. Let's see what we got. I'm interested to see how this goes. We got an Australian Ken.
I'm looking forward to see if this Ken pulls off any more godlike confirm. Swear to God, there's another low kick into super. I'm just gonna leave the room.
Yeah, if we get godlike Ken in this match, this will be the third week in a row, and I really won't have any explanation. Well, I just don't know. Oh, you cheesy boy.
Immediate ground Tatsu. All of those are punishable. Do not let Kens do that stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, he can Shoryuken afterward, but it's all -4 or worse.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. He's doing a lot of cheese. He's doing a lot of cheese here.
Yeah, all those Tatsus, if you have a 4-frame jab or faster, just hit him with it. Stop him. That'll beat even the Shoryuken afterward, because the Shoryuken still has to, you know, come out before it becomes invincible.
Yep, let me call DP. Oh, kind of wanted it. Yep. This Birdie's starting to shut the cheese down, which is good. He's starting to recognize the patterns. He needs to stop doing that.
Yeah, this is classic gimmick Ken. Just Tatsus, Tatsus, Tatsus until you do something about them. There we are again. Oh, blocks this time.
Oh my God, my heart.
Gotta punish those. Like, if you're dealing with this kind of Ken and he's keeps Shoryukening you, just train your crush counter punish and you will win every round, because he's gonna get it eventually, and your crush counter punish does 1/4 of his life or more.
Yeah, you gotta shut these gimmicks down. There's no excuse. Once you recognize them, like you recognize them visually, then when you look at the frame data, it's like, oh, I could freaking destroy this dude. And then it's like, yeah, this ain't happening anymore. I got this down. And he's throwing in taunts now. Throwing in taunts.
Yeah, this Birdie isn't capitalizing. Like that knockdown there with the banana, he could have gotten something off of that. He could have gotten something off all the... Again, you know, Birdie has a long reach. He could hit something off of that.
Yeah, this is just a case as Birdie, he doesn't really know what to do, and it kind of sucks to watch, but this is all part of the learning process, so I can be, understanding in that. But yeah, that's not good.
Additionally, if this Birdie thinks that Ken's going to go into an air Tatsu, throw out the anti-air chain, like fish with it. If that Ken's all on the other side of the screen, he only really has one option to get in.
Yeah. And what was it? I know Season 1, Air EX Tatsu, was it? That was like the key get-in tool with Ken. So many people used it, if I'm remembering right. And then Season 2, they took it away.
Yeah,
and he got handicapped.
Theoretically anti-airable now, though I believe his V-trigger air Tatsus are just harder to hit.
Yeah, so Ken did get a little bit of a nerf Season 2, but still, this is like, it's hard to watch because, these guys are learning still, and it's understandable, but you gotta recognize these things. And believe me, it's annoying to deal with because it feels like you're just getting cheesed out, which you are, but it's all you're learning, and you figure out real quick that you can beat those things out. And once you figure that out, it's really satisfying because it's like, oh, I don't fall for this anymore. I'm better than that. I got this. Now I can just punish these, get a crush counter or whatever. Simple as that.
Yep, like, Ken, for those of you struggling against Ken is a character at lower ranks who preys on your lack of knowledge. He isn't bad, per se. He's just much more effective when you don't know what the heck he's doing, and you could easily beat that out by understanding where he's actually vulnerable. The key things is every time you see that ground Tatsu, not the air Tatsu, but the Tatsu from the ground, he's always -4, so you can get a light confirm. Something like, on Kami, for example, crouching light kick, crouching light punch, spiral arrow, or something like that. I believe that's the right one. I'm not a Kami player. But, you can do something about that, and that will beat out even if he Shoryukens right afterward, or if he tries to throw. Both those are way slower. Air Tatsus, it's a little more variable, and there's always the risk against him just randomly Shoryukening. But if you recognize that he's doing that, you can just punish it. So you have to recognize that when he's vulnerable and make sure to shut it down, because otherwise he's just going to keep doing it.
Yeah, there's really not a whole much more we could say about that. You gotta learn how to shut it down, and things like that are really easy to shut down. Just gotta work at it. Recognize the patterns. Find out the frame data if you want to be like super sure about these things, and yeah, find your punish. That's all I can really say. So, moving on.